Picture this typical day. You wake up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, you wash your hands, maybe wash your face, brush your teeth, and then throughout the day you are drinking water, eating food, and then when you get home you might take a shower, maybe wash some dishes, do the laundry. And do you see all the common things in these actions? They all depend on water. We living creatures depend on water. And as I went through that, you guys probably didn't really realize how much water you actually use throughout the day. So what are we going to do when water is so scarce that we can't do these things like we used to? My name is Kara Longenecker, and I am living in the climax era of climate change. In my environmental science class, we've been talking about water scarcity and climate change a lot recently, and it made me realize how important this issue really is. We are the change that needs to happen on this earth. Water scarcity is one of the greatest challenges in our world right now, and we need to do whatever we can to address it. The problem is that few of us realize how much water we really do use. So today, I hope to convince you that to reduce your water usage, because of this growing problem of water scarcity. There are so many things that we don't know. You might think that you don't use that much water, that water scarcity isn't a problem, and that access to water won't really affect you, and that even you can't really do anything about that issue, but I'm here to change that today. So to start off, you might think, I don't use or waste that much water. However, Americans use far more water than those in other countries, and you can see that in this table. North and Central America use the most water out of every other country. The average American family uses more than 300 gallons of water, which is equivalent to 4 bathtubs full of water per day at home. That's a lot of water. Roughly 70% of this occurs indoors, according to EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. So here, just kind of a graph that shows the water usage in our homes and the percentage. When most people want water in the U.S., all they have to do is turn on a faucet and they have clean water. But on average, of those 300 gallons that I mentioned earlier, about 138 per day are used from in-home facilities like the toilet, the shower, faucet, all of these things listed here. And this is according to the water footprint calculator. So this kind of shows how many gallons we use in each of these, with toilet being the highest. So, second thing, you might think water scarcity isn't that big of a problem, or not a problem in the U.S. This graph kind of shows the extremely high, the darker red is the extremely high states of water stress, and you can see that there aren't a ton of states that have high water, but this is only going to increase. As I was researching this specific problem of water in the U.S., I came across an article from the New York Times that Kendra actually found. So I'm just going to read you guys a little story. Early one morning in July 2014, Lori Pop awoke in her new home in Sulphur Springs Valley of Arizona and began unpacking boxes of clothes, hanging photographs, and prepping the day's homeschooling lessons for her 2 teenage children. Pop, who until a few days earlier had never been to Arizona, was exhilarated to have finally arrived at the house on East Hoppy Drive, but also exhausted. The move from Pennsylvania required a cross-country trip, and now a long list of chores awaited. Outside, the day was already north of 80 degrees. Lori was just beginning to fill a glass of water when she noticed the stream from the faucet was cloudy and brown. The water looked like a desert surrounding the house, she said, the same color. Running her hand under the stream, she found what appeared to be small grains of sand. And this not only affected their faucet, but their bath water, their washing machine, and their dishwasher too. And this was happening because the water that they were using was from an aquifer that was running out. So this is a map of the world, and it shows the water stress from high to low to high, and the dark areas are really high water stress, and you can see especially like there's a lot in North America, but also in like India and over in Europe. So this is an issue that is happening across the world. And Flint, Michigan is also an example of people that can't drink out of their own faucets. Flint officials failed to treat water, and lead leaked out from aging pipes into thousands of homes that I found from the Natural Resource Defense Council. So from India to Iran to Botswana, 17 countries around the world are currently under extremely high water stress, meaning they are using almost all the water they have, according to the New World Resources Institute data published. And that was from the New York Times. So, another thing you might think is that access to water won't affect me. And actually, some experts predict that water wars will be fought over water in the near future. And on this graph, you can see the water interaction between countries. The Earth might seem like it has abundant water, but in fact, a very small amount is actually available fresh water. 71% of our surface is covered in salt water, and of that, the fresh water is, and so then the fresh water, most of it is actually locked up in ice or in the ground, and so really only like 1% of water is actually available to us. And this I found from the EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency. So evidence suggests that 2/3 of the world population could be living in water-stressed countries by 2025 if current consumption patterns continue. And I found that from the World Economic Forum. Access to clean water, sanitation, and hygiene can transform lives. And globally, 663 million people live without easy access to clean water, and 2.4 billion people lack access to improved sanitation facilities. In Paul Ratner's article about water wars from the World Economic Forum, he states that the effects of climate change will be combined with an ever-increasing number of people to trigger intense competition for increasingly scarce resources. This can lead to regional instability and social unrest, a water war. Countries will start fighting for water. So lastly, after hearing all this, you might think, I can't do anything about a water crisis. But yes, you can. And here's what you can do. Education and awareness is the first thing that you can do, and that's what we're doing today. I'm telling you guys about this issue, and hopefully you can take it from this room and start thinking about how you're living and spread it on to other people. Maybe encourage your parents or homeowners to install new conservation technologies in their homes. Switching to water-saving fixtures can reduce indoor water use by 20%, according to the water footprint calculator. Newer bathroom fixtures and appliances like toilets, shower heads, faucets are designed to be more water efficient than older models and can save hundreds of gallons a month. Just look for products in stores that have a water sense label. Another thing you can do is recycle wastewater. Wastewater is, we just waste so much water, and so by using like maybe a rain barrel outside your home to catch rainwater and maybe use that for like watering plants instead of just using your faucet water can help a lot. So in conclusion, the issue of water scarcity is the core of sustainable development. If we want to have a promising future, then we need to look at our water consumption and make some changes. Water is one of Earth's most important resources, and we use water for everything. We're privileged to have the access that we do, and when that resource goes away, we aren't going to know what to do. We use more than we realize, and it's time to know how serious this problem is. We can make changes in our everyday life, but it's up to us. So take what I've said today and consider reducing your water usage and even your family's water usage at home. It takes a small step from every one of us. Thank you.